So this is a report showing all of the scorecard items in the software. And you can edit this report and we can group by organization. So you can see, all right, here's all the different, KPIs or whatever for every organization. But there's no way to count the different colors. There's no way to say, show me all of the objectives that are green, or how many objectives are green, or how many KPIs are red, that kind of thing. And so we have put together kind of a little hack that will allow you to do this with data sets. It involves doing a SQL connection to the actual Spider Impact database, and then using that connection to count KPIs. And we'll show you how that works. So first of all, the first step is to set up a import connection to the actual Spider Impact database. And if you are a hosted software as a service customer, we can help you set up that connection for you. And so I've already set up that connection. So now we're going to go to the Dataset, and I'm going to create a new dataset. I'm going to call it and it's going to be a MySQL database connection. And then here's that, this database connection we have. And here's a SQL query we've written. And I'll post this SQL query along with the video. Paste it in, go next. No transformations. So here we've got the organization name. These are the different columns, right? The scorecard item name, the ID, the item type, the score, the color only, that's going to be blank if it's not a KPI, and the actual value also will be blank if it's not a KPI. So we'll choose the ID as the record ID column. We'll hit next, and we'll schedule this import, and it's going to run every, let's say every day at midnight. And we're going to replace all records so that the dataset will only have the most recent copy of the performance. So there'll be one record for every single scorecard item in their software. And you could run this more often if you want. You could run it every hour or something, but we'll just do it nightly. We're confirming that we're going to overwrite the data every single time it runs the import every night. And you click to the Records tab, and here's what we've got, right? A whole bunch of columns. There's the actual value, the color, the ID, the native calendar organization. And we're going to explore here, and there's 491. So there's 491 scorecard items in the software. And let's see what it looks like. You can just use a data set to explore. So let's go to scorecard item type. There's 311 metrics, 63 generic items, 46 linked items, 33 root, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of interesting. Let's see how many organizations are in the software. There's quite a few organizations, and we can explore. And so all of a sudden we can start exploring our data. So let's say, for example, we want to go by color. So of all the software, this is a test database, right? So there's a few gray ones, a few slate ones. Those aren't very common, but these are the three most common ones, right? Yellow, red, and green. And let's choose an organization. And let's say, all right, I want to just look at the finance KPIs. So I'm going to filter on that, or scorecard items, and then these are the counts of the different things in finance. But that's actually a really good point, is what happens if we want to do just KPIs? So let's do scorecard item type, and we'll filter on just metrics. And now we see, okay, so the entire software, there's 99 red metrics, 96 green, 95 yellow. So it's pretty evenly balanced across all of them. And then if I want to just say, actually, I just want to see the sales totals, click on that. We can see, all right, I've got 11 yellow KPIs in sales, 4 gray. So I need to update some KPIs, 1 green, 1 red. So you can just explore and get answers very quickly in the dataset section. You can get answers really quickly. Well, how many KPIs are green and in scorecards or in sales or something, right? But you probably want to actually run reports on this. So let's go to the report section. And let's do a new report. And we're going to go to the dataset report. And we're going to choose scorecard item performance. And let's start, let's call this thing KPI color counts. And I'm going to choose organization for a column. And then I'm going to do the scorecard item. And I'm going to go to color. And I guess that'll be fine for now. So what we're doing here is you can actually see here, here's the organization, here's the scorecard item, there's the color, and we'll probably want to do what I did at the very start of the video, which is group by organization. So now we can see here, all right, here's all of the KPIs in the sales template. Here's an organization Africa, aggregation types, all that kind of stuff. So all the KPIs are listed as well as their current performance. Oh, actually, that's a good point, though. I do want to, this is all scorecard items. I'm going to switch this to be just KPIs, or we could do just objectives or whatever, right? Scorecard item type. I'm going to switch that to be metric. Now it's going to give me a little bit different. There are fewer, fewer scorecard items. All right. So now is where the magic happens. We are going to hide individual records. We're turning off show individual records. And at this point, it's going to aggregate everything together so we get counts. There's unique scorecard items. Here's every single organization we have. There's the West Coast operations, whatever, right? All right, so let's delete this column and start applying filters. So going back again, we have counts here of individual scorecard items, right? So we're counting the number of KPIs because we have a KPI filter applied here. So we're counting the KPIs in each one, but we're going to add an additional filter. We don't want to count the KPIs. We want to count the KPIs where the color is red. So now that counts just red KPIs. We're going to do the number of records and we're going to choose gray and slate together for these two. It's kind of a long story, but this is a test database and I've got a couple of different custom colors set up here. So gray or slate, that's fine for those. So now we have KPI color counts for every organization, and we could do KPI color counts based on, owners, what updaters, whatever, right? You can group on any column here, but this is pretty handy. So that's great. Another thing, we actually go back in the dataset section and we can create calculated KPIs based on this. So for example, we're going to do color. The percentage of KPIs that are yellow, the percentage that are red, the percentage that are green. So I'm going to create a dataset KPI. I'm going to call it percent of red KPIs. We're going to do a snapshot because it's going to take a snapshot. This is going to be a monthly, weekly, whatever. I'm going to choose monthly. So every single month, it's going to take a snapshot of the most recent data in our data set. I'll put it underneath financial, let's say, kind of silly, but I'll put it under financial. All right, so I'm going to go back over to the scorecard section, percent red KPIs. If you look here, in the current month, which is July, I now have 28% of my KPIs are red, and I could do percentage of whatever, right? And maybe that's an actual KPI. Now, right now it's currently July, and I can when I go to August, that'll remember that 28%, and in August it'll say whatever the new percentage is. So you can actually track, even though the data set only tracks a snapshot. If you do a KPI about your other KPIs, it's actually going to create a history going over time. So I'm going to edit this thing. I'm going to make it goal red flag, and I want anything over 30% is really bad, and I want to try to get this thing under 10%. So now I can see, all right, I'm getting close to my 30%. That's not so great, but I hover over here. Oh, it's the number of KPIs where the color is red. Let's click on that. All right, so these are my red KPIs. Let's break things down by organization. All right, so now I can see of my red KPIs, these are where all the KPIs are. It's mostly customer support that's doing badly for me. So already we've got a great automation going because we just drilled down on a scorecard directly into the dataset section. One last thing I want to show you. Let's visualize this data. We're going to call this KPI color breakdown. Let's do a new chart. And I like these little filled containers. So we're going to set the data source. It's a data set. It is our scorecard item performance data set. And the field is the number of records, very similar to our report. And what's the filter? Where the color is green. So this is counting up the color of green KPIs. I'm going to make this thing green to match. And I could actually change this thing. I'm just going to be quick though. I'm just going to duplicate this. And I'm going to change this guy to be red. To the data source. And do this for the other colors too. Yes, sir. So that is the total breakdown of what my KPIs are across the entire software, which is super interesting, right? But maybe we don't want to do that. Maybe we want to see it broken down by organization or whatever, right? So we'll edit this chart. We're going to repeat by organization. That is a lot of organizations. Maybe this isn't the best data visualization around. I don't know, it's kind of interesting. So that is, these are the visualization of all the KPIs across all of your organizations. You can see East Coast here has a lot of yellow. Customer support has some great KPIs messing things up. Carly is doing very poorly in customer support with all her red KPIs. IT isn't doing so great. US is all yellow. So you can kind of get a vibe for the general performance of all your KPIs by organization.